that means that the summation part is telling you that it starts at n equals 1 and it goes through infinity. That means that this is infinitely geometric. I think I just kind of made that up. But what I want you to remember is that this part in here is playing the role of first term times r to the n minus 1. That's how you get the info out of it to set up the problem. Okay. Does that make sense? So when I know that I have to do the sum of the infinite series, the sum is first term divided by 1 minus r. So if I have that, I know that my first term is 4.4 and my r is 0.9. So I go 4.4 divided by 1 minus 0.9, and I believe your sum is? Okay. Also, yes, ma'am. You know, I thought about that, and then I realized that I think that since there's only 5, I've decided to change it up a smidge. And when I thought about it, is since there's 5 of there, you guys can memorize 5 things, right? Or is it worth 1 point per formula to you? No. And then I realized that I was kind of mean. I'm like, it's a great idea, but I probably couldn't do that. So I'm like, yes, I'll give you points. It was a great idea. It's one of the formulas, right? The 5? Yeah. I'll get there. So, like I was saying, what I will, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the wording and stuff here as well. From the infinite stuff that I asked you guys to look at last night, I think I said it started around like 23 to 30. Was there anything in that infinite part that was awful, terrible, bad, or if you want to double check, make sure you got it right? I'm pretty sure did I post the solutions already? Yeah. All right. Remember, the solutions are. You're like, oh, really? The solutions are posted through. Don't worry about anything that says recursive. We are not dealing with anything called recursive. The stuff that's on here says explicit. I'm going to reiterate the lingo with you guys here today in a second. I just wanted to go through that. But are there questions at all about geometric infinite? You had a question here, but I don't know. I haven't decided. I've got 2 problems for you. I'll have to. Yeah, I gotta change it. I gotta change yours just a bit. That way they're not the same. So basically, I have a couple problems for each class that I spent way too much time figuring out. But it depends on how much time we have. This test shouldn't take very long. So I haven't decided whether or not I want to just let you guys have it over the weekend or stall before we do it and just say, hey, we have a half day in May 10th or so. Is that right? May 10th? Maybe on May 10th, I'll just say, hey, here's your 2 questions, and just give you the time, give you that 27 minutes to try to figure it out. Anywho, so formulas. And I know a lot of you guys are freaking out about formula stuff. What'll happen with the test is I'll have on a sheet of paper. Was it N or first term here? I forget. It was first term. Thank you. And then I'm missing some of the. then that's the other one, right? Yes. So basically, those 5 things will be written down on a piece of paper, and you just got to figure out which one's which. Excuse me. Yes. Remember, geometric has the R. Geometric has R. Arithmetic has a D. And some of the infinite just has S. Oh, Abby. Abby. There's no infinity button on your calculator. If there was, it would be located on the infinite floor. With sharks. Sharks with lasers. Overbearing assistance. Assistance. Lego movie, thank you. From Lego movie. Jeez. Don't you guys know your children? Lego movie is awesome. Because everything is awesome. I think. Yeah. So good. What I love about that movie, not to get sidetracked because it never happens. The song is great, but what's so good is that every time you watch it, you catch something else. You know? Yeah, the background. Like the guy when they go into Wild West town before they meet Vitruvius. There's a guy. I have children that are 9 and 6 that have way too many Legos. Okay, so when we were watching it once, for like the 15th time or whatever, we noticed the guy taking a bath in the water tower. He farts in the water tower because you see bubbles come up from him washing. It's like my kid Connor goes, "Did he just fart?" I'm like, "I think so. Let's rewind it." Well, yep, they farted. So you get that childhood humor of things. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't notice that. I will look for that. Anyway, so squirrel. Um, what I did with the test is that I wrote it with instructions and things that mirrored the homework problems. Now, when I put this together real quick, just to try to get extra questions and extra problems and stuff like that, because it really is a rather light chapter. So I went through the CUDA machine and did some stuff. The first set of problems here was saying stuff like name the term and the problem and the explicit formula. Basically, I would say, what is the nth term of the following arithmetic sequence or geometric? Or write the equation for the nth term of the following sequence. Which means you'd have to decide, is it arithmetic or is it geometric? So if you look at number 1, what's happening between all those numbers? Is it going up or going down? So on number 1, you've got negative 29, negative 49, negative 69, negative 89, blah, blah, blah. So your first term is negative 29. Your common difference is negative 20. Your nth term and then you fill in the blanks. Now, Maria was asking me about this a little while ago. When you get to your equations here, I'd like you to write them into slope-intercept form, which most of you guys are doing anyway. Not a big deal. So you got negative 29 plus n minus 1 times negative 20, which gives you negative 20n minus 9 would be my nth term. And then it asks you, I believe, what was the 38th term? So negative 20 times 38 minus 9, and it gives you your result. Okay? Yes, sir? So when you want just the formula? Yeah, because it'll say write the formula, and then most of these problems had two parts, if you remember. So, like for example, we got the series ones. The sum of how many? Find the sum of 20 of them, and how many do you have to add up to equal blah. Yeah. Great response, sir. What's negative 20 times negative 1? What's negative 29? Now, if I go down to number 5 is no longer arithmetic. What's going on there? Geometric with a rate of negative 5. Good. So you've got, excuse me, you've got a first term of negative 1, a rate of negative 5, and then it's a matter of putting it together and go from there. Okay. Whenever you have negative values raised to exponents, you got to put stuff together. Make sure you put it in parentheses. Yeah. There's nothing else you can do with that. You can't simplify it. There was one thing I don't, Maria, not to say that you brought this up again, but one of the things that I know we talked about yesterday. Remember we had that logarithm where you had a negative base, exponent, negative answer? Remember, disregard the negatives if you're doing that, because it just meant if you started with a negative base, it was like negative 3 to the n equals some negative number, and it has to be odd. That's all that meant. So you would just disregard the negatives. Put in, unless you put in 9. What you would do here is in the calculator. Oh. And just make sure you put some parentheses around it. Or one of the things that you do also have is you can if you don't want to screw up, just put it right into your y equals. Remember, guys, the y equals and your table can become your best friend if you're not good at working with negatives and things. It helps out. Friend. Why don't you just unplug it, and then we can place it someplace else. Does that graph tangent? No, it does not. It's kind of outdated. If I look at 16, we worded a little bit differently before. In 16, I asked you guys before in the homework, find the sum of so many of them of the following sequence. Well, in this case, they're giving you the difference in the first term. You're trying to figure out the sum of how many you have to add up to equal sum of how many equals negative 781. Now, this one was arithmetic. So if I'm looking at an arithmetic problem, remember you start with your nth term, figure it all out. So you'll have negative 7n plus 7 plus minus 29, I believe. So there's my nth term. Then I have to figure out how many of them do I have to add up to equal negative 781. Well, I look at my formula. The sum is however many first term plus nth term over 2. I want it to equal negative 781. I know my first term was negative 36. I know my nth term is minus 7n minus 29 all over 2. Now, at this point, I have to simplify that numerator. I have negative 36 minus 29. That gives me negative 65, I believe. At the same time, I'm going to multiply this side by 2. So if I double that, I get 2, 6, 1562 negative will equal n times the quantity of negative 7n minus 65. Did I do something wrong? Why would I want to do all that in fractions? Because remember, what this is doing is setting you up to use the quadratic, to set you up to a quadratic so you can use your table. Okay? So remember, when you have to find this, however many add up for an arithmetic, that's the style that it's forcing you to think about using your table to figure out where it is in there. Distribute through, you get negative 7n squared minus 65n. Means I'm going to move that all to the left. So I have 7n squared plus 65n minus 1562 is 0. I don't want to factor that, nor do I ever want to think of factoring that, because that's just ugh. Gross. It's so gross. But I have a button. And I am not afraid to use it. I know. I don't know. I thought he had a field trip. He might have had a field trip today. He had something going on this week. I forgot what. Now, if I go to my table, remember, the worst case scenario with your table is that you might have to scroll for a while. You know? Am I right? You might just have to scroll through it for a bit. La, 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 la. La. Oh, I'm there. Sometimes you find it quicker than others. That's what I'm trying to hear you. Hi, Shimki. I forgot your first name was Will. So I used to call you Shimki. Oh, what do you call me? Because I don't like cheese. Yes. Yes, sir. You have to. You have to. You have to make sure it equals 0. If it doesn't equal 0, you type something in first. No, because I want you to solve the problem. I see what you're getting at. You're trying to say, I'm going to give you one that says no solution. No, if you get stuff where it's not working out cleanly, it means you've done good. Yes, sir. What's that? 7 and 10. Yes. Did you probably type it in first? This is. Yeah. Because you have this crazy stuff. Yes, ma'am. When you're doing it with that one, you're usually with geometric ones. When geometric ones, you're not using the table. You're usually using log base. You could use a table; it'll get you there also if you're more comfortable using that one. But log base is just as quick. What's that one? Yeah, you need to add up 11 of them for it to equal. Your answer, my n value has to equal 11. That means if I add 11 numbers together that are in this sequence, it'll equal. Yeah, geometric ones, when you do a geometric one, it's a little bit different. Like number 20. On number 20, it says we have a geometric series. Find the number of how many you have to add together to get 27,993. So it goes 3, 8, 108, 684. So I'm guessing you're multiplying by 6. I'm no math major. It's a joke. Yeah, no, actually. You have to have a, you have to be called what's considered highly qualified, which means I believe you have to have, actually, no, what? Let me change that. I think you have to have at least a minor within the field, and then you have to also pass all the math aptitude tests to teach. So, like, I know a lot of times, if any of you guys are looking, if any of your parents are science teachers, a lot of times they might have a degree in biology, but they also teach chemistry or earth science, something like that. Because a lot of times, and I know this for like how my wife was. My wife has her degree is in biology, but she basically had, when you take biology classes, you have to take so many chem classes. So she only had to take like 2 extra chemistry classes in college to get her minor in chem, and then she was able to also take the tests for chem. So she's qualified to teach biology, chemistry, and some other thingies for science stuff. So I could have taken, like, if I would have got like a physics degree, like a pure physics degree, you have so much math that goes into physics that I think you already minor without, you might have to take 1 extra class, but then you just have to take the extra, like, the aptitude tests for it, and you might have to take a practicum class for, like, how do you teach math, that type of thing. But that might have changed. But me, I do have a degree in math. I'm a nerd. Anyway, back to number 20. You've got an initial term of 3, a rate of 6. How many you have to add together to go through it? So the sum of however many is going to be first term, 1 minus my rate to the n over 1 minus my rate. So 27,993 equals 3 times the quantity 1 minus 6 to the n over 1 minus 6. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to divide out the 3 because I'm seeing that this is going to be clean. If I divide out by the 3, I'm going to get 9331. Then I have to multiply that by negative 5. So I get 5, 5, 6, 4, 6, 6, 5. And that's negative. And that equals 1 minus 6 to the n. Nope, this number 20 is geometric. Since my rate here in itself isn't in parentheses as negative, I'm going to add the 6 to the end over and add the 46655. 6 to some power will equal 46656. Now, like I was saying a second ago, if you want a log base, go for it. Or if you're more comfortable searching in the y equals table, that's fine as well. Because if I go to my y equals, if I do 6 to the x and go to the table, I'm just looking to see where table. And it happens at 6. It works the same way. Whether you log base it or go to your y equals, sometimes it's quicker one way or the other. It doesn't matter. You're gonna get the you should get the same answer. If you don't, you know you done goofed. You get a T-shirt that says, you know, you got done goofed. What's that? The AP pre-calc class? It's not a class, but it's pretty cool. You don't get my answer, you done goofed. I did. Yep. Some of the arithmetic. Or sorry, excuse me, some of the geometrics. What's that? A 1 minus the rate. Oh, remember, it's not x minus 5, I said I was multiplying by 5. Because this equals negative 5. How do you get rid of e? Multiply by negative 5. So I just multiply by 5. Multiply by negative 5. How's that? One time I use an x instead of a dot. If I use a dot, you say, why is it point negative 5? Am I right? Yeah, it's a really, really weird way to write 6. Yes, sir. Determine and evaluate, really nothing. Which way are you looking at? Determine the common ratio means find what's the ratio. What's the answer? Yeah, what does it add up to equal? Determine means you're not solving something, you're not solving to what it equals, you're figuring out what's missing. So what's the rate? The first term is 1 here, and your sum is 4. What's the rate? Did that make sense for these summation one with the infinite one? Like we said, it was probably one of the easiest things we've done second semester. Just remember, there's no such thing as an infinity button. What? Means find the answer. Evaluate what number you're looking at. 9 and 10. It says evaluate your arithmetic, which means find the sum of 8 of them in this arithmetic sequence or series. So if I had 6 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15, what would 8 of those added together equal? Which means I wouldn't even bother using a formula because I could probably figure out that 6 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15 will be plus 18 plus 21 plus 24 plus 27. No, find the sum of 8 of them is what that means. The sum of an arithmetic. I would use the sum of the arithmetic. I would use sum S of n is the number of them, first term plus your nth term all over 2. So I could do all that by figuring out all the nth rule and everything. But since they're only looking to add 8 of them, can't I just do that? Wouldn't that be a lot easier? Since the numbers aren't all that terrible. I mean, if your difference here was like negative 74, I wouldn't want to do that because that's too much thinking. My difference is 3. So I would do that, but to each their own. That would be a series because of the plus symbols. Does that make sense, Nelson? By all means, if you want to use the formula, go for it. You're going to get the same result. I just think time-wise, since it's an easier one to do, I do it that way. But c'est la vie. Is that the right phrase for that? Whatever is shall be. There you go. I am multilingual. Yeah, oui. Parlez-vous français? Oui. All right. What else you got? Ain't good? Write your name. Hi. What's up? $35. Given the third term of a geometric sequence and a rate of -4, write the formula and what's the 8th term. So if I know that my formula, my nth term is my first term rate to the n minus 1, I know that I have the third term, which is 64, which equals the first term times 4 to the 3 minus 1. So 64 will equal 4 squared, which is 16 times my first term. Oops. That'd still be 16. Thank you. So then that gives me an a value, an initial term of 4. So now I have my first term times my rate of -4 to the n minus 1. And then it asked me to find the 8th term. And I would put that in my calculator. -4 to the 7th times 4. What's that? He's so mean. Yeah, but you're always like that. He's usually just a do this. You're not gonna fail us. Huh? Yeah. Find the common ratio, -4. You have to be able to do that to put in the formula. Yeah, R is the common ratio of these things. Yeah, remember, if you're the, what is it? For infinite, your absolute value of R has to be less than 1 to make it work. If it's greater than 1, it won't work. Yes, ma'am. This is finite. This is not infinite. What, Jordan? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What would you write? What did you write in your homework? Yep. No, you would say no. And the reason would have been because your actually are straight. Yes. You're very quick to fix it. It's funny. It makes me laugh. So you get fraction equal fraction. Exchange-o, change-o. Which then means that 1 minus 2.5 over 12.5 is R. Whatever that equals. Okay. Shame. You should all give him the finger of shame. Only some of you guys take my initiatives to heart. The rest of you guys just like. Little lemmings. I know the wave. Sometimes it's easier for me just to start with. So first is 10 to 2. Oh, yep, there you go. There's a problem. A lot of times it's always the easiest thing overlooked. Yes, sir. What do you mean? Some of the infinite? Oh yeah. They write them like that. They don't start you off kilter.